I'm working on t-shirt quilts today, but I had to share this quilt top that I pulled out of my stash. It's a hand-pieced quilt top that I found at a thrift store full of donkeys. And it turns out it's got a really interesting history dating all the way back to 1931. So a few years back, I was at a thrift store in Colorado, and I found this quilt top tucked in among blankets and sheets and linens and things. Cute little donkeys that caught my eye. And I thought, well, that's going to come home with me. I think I spent maybe $8 on it. And I thought, it's a quirky little quilt. It looks like it's been hand pieced. So, it's been sewn by hand, all of these blocks, and it's got a vintage feel to it. I wondered if there might be some history there, and curiosity got the better of me. So I went to look it up to see if there was any history on this quilt. It turns out that this donkey design was first published by the Kansas City Star in 1931, and it is called Giddap. What had happened is that a few months before this pattern came out, the same Kansas City Star had published an elephant quilt block, and that one was called Ararat. It was based on an elephant in the zoo, an actual elephant in the zoo, and a group of quilters got a hold of that pattern and made kind of a political version of that elephant. And so then other groups of ladies asked that there would be also a donkey pattern. And so that's where Giddap came from. And, it's just a really interesting, fun piece of history. These patterns were published in 1931, and there was an election in our country in 1932. And so that's kind of an interesting piece of history, and I just love that. I mean, these blocks are so big. Let's see. There's the bottom ones. I think this red one is my favorite. Love that red one. So my plan with this quilt top is to take apart the blocks carefully and make a wall hanging out of each of the donkeys, keeping one of them for myself, for my own wall. And I will probably put the other ones up on my Etsy shop when they're ready. I've just always been drawn to donkeys. I think they're so cute, and I love the stories of donkeys in scripture. And I have a piece of art from a Southwest artist named DeGrazia, who has a piece of art called The Wandering Burro, and I just love that so much. I don't know what it is. I love the donkey. Wanted to share that with you. I just love finding quilt tops like this. They're such a treasure. It's the whole story. This was hand stitched. It's also got an interesting history, and I think it's great. I am really looking forward to, doing something with this other than having it languish in a closet. That, this could have been made probably somewhere in the 30s or 40s by, another woman's hand. If you enjoy these kind of thrifty finds, I hope you'll subscribe and join me in this journey. And if you've got any kind of treasure like this, I would love to hear your stories in the comments. Have you found anything with historical significance, like something like this, in your thrifty hunts? All right, now I've got to get back to work. See you in the next video.